Good morning everyone. I am Deepika, an English teacher. I am here to explain the short story, a humorous story, The Brave Potter, from second unit of 10th class, which comes under the theme Wit and Humor. The Brave Potter is a folk tale. Folk tale in Telugu meaning Pittakadalu or Burrakadalu. Folktale is originated in a particular culture and it is spread by word of mouth. Actually, this story wasn't Telugu, it was translated into English by Mr. Margaret Seek. Margaret Seek was a great storyteller. He traveled across various regions of Asia and he collected short stories and translated them into English. Brave Potter is one among them. Some examples for folk stories are Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the story of beautiful Snow White, the Seven Dwarfs and the Evil Queen, and one of the famous stories, Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. You can see some pictures here. Now let us start with the first paragraph of The Brave Potter. Now let us know the meaning of the title The Brave Potter. Brave, another meaning for it is courageous. Potter means a person who makes pots. Brave is an adjective which is qualifying the noun potter. It was dark. Thick black clouds covered the evening sky. The thunder roared and the strong wind shook the branches and the leaves of the trees in the forest. Pit, pat, pit, drops of rain fell. Then the lightning flashed and split the black sky with its blinding light. It was a forest area. It was dark and it was about to rain. See, when it is about to rain, what kind of incidents do you observe in the sky? You find thunder, lightning, and few drops of rain starts, which turns into a heavy rain. The same situation is observed in this forest area. Meaning of blinding is bright light. So the lightning flashed and split the black sky with its bright light. Soon it was raining heavily. An old tiger ran through the rain looking for shelter. He was wet and cold and his cave was far away. So in that heavy rain, there was an old tiger which was moving here and there, finding for shelter as its cave is far away. And this tiger is wet and shivering. While hurrying to his shelter, he saw an old hut. With a sigh of relief, the tiger crawled under the thatched roof and lay down by the door. So finally it found an old hut. The tiger took a deep breath, expressing a sigh of relief, crawled under the thatched roof and sat down by the door. Except for the sound of the rain, all was quiet. Before he could nod off, however, he heard something heavy being dragged inside the hut. This was followed by the voice of a woman. So, when a nod off means to fall asleep. In that area, it was all quiet. There was no creature in sight. And before the tiger could sleep, it heard something heavy being dragged inside the hut. And it was followed by the voice of a woman. "Oh, how terrible this leak is," she complained. "How terrible. I would rather meet a tiger in the forest than have this leak in my house." So, in this paragraph, the woman is complaining about a leak in her hut. What is a leak? For example, if there is a crack in the water pipe, water starts leaking. Here in this story, it is a patched roof. So maybe there was holes in the roof and due to rain it started to leak. Now the woman was giving a complaint about this leak. She said that it is better to meet a tiger in the forest rather than handling this leak. A leak? The tiger thought, what is a leak? It must be very dangerous and strong, or the woman would not be more frightened of the leaf than of me. So the tiger did not understand the meaning of leak. The tiger misunderstood leak to be a creature, and the tiger thought that the leak may be more stronger and dangerous than it. Am I not rightly called the king of the forest? Aren't they all afraid of me? I wonder what a leak looks like. So it was questioning itself. Am I not the king of the forest? Aren't they all afraid of me? And it was also wondering what a leak looks like. Soon afterwards, the tired tiger fell asleep. Tired tiger. Tired is an adjective describing the noun tiger. So here the tired tiger fell asleep. He was suddenly awakened by an angry voice shouting in his ear. So while it was sleeping, suddenly some creature came towards the tiger and shouted angrily in his ear. He felt heavy blows fall upon his head and shoulders. You horrible beast! A voice screamed angrily. Screamed meaning to shout loudly. So that creature bet on his head and shoulders and also scolded the tiger, calling it a horrible beast. Beast means animal. How dare you run away? How dare you make me walk about in the middle of the night trying to find you? Be careful. One of these days I'll kill you. So these were the words spoken by the creature to the tiger. What were the scoldings of the creature? How dare are you? How dare you make me walk in the middle of the night? And the creature also warned that one day he is going to kill the tiger. Now go home. The old tiger shivered. This must be the leak who has come out of the hut. I'd better do as he says or he will kill me. So the tiger thought that the creature might be the leak which came out of the house and started to scold it. So the tiger thought that it is better to listen and obey the words of the leak. You can see the picture of a hut with holes. So the tiger allowed himself to be bound around the neck with a thick rope. The mysterious creature then climbed onto the tiger's back and pulled at the rope. Come on, head for home, shouted the voice. So the tiger allowed itself to bound around the neck with a thick rope. That strange creature climbed onto the tiger's back and pulled at the rope and instructed to move towards his house. The tiger felt a sharp kick on his side. The creature even kicked on tiger's side. The tiger was terrified and he ran through the dark forest. Terrified meaning afraid of. This tiger was afraid of the creature and obeyed the instructions given by it. See, whenever you come across new words, you write these words in a book and make own sentences so that you can remember the vocabulary and also make use of this vocabulary in your oral and written form so that you can develop your language. The creature pulled hard on the rope to tell him which way to go. At the same time, it scolded, cursed, and kicked the poor tiger. Here, scolded, cursed, kicked, all these three are verbs. So, the creature tortured the tiger. Finally, they stopped in front of a small hut on the edge of the thick forest. Finally, the mysterious creature, along with the tiger, reached a small hut which is at the end of the forest. I have a question for you. What is the opposite word for cursed? Let me know in the comment section. The creature climbed down from the tiger's back and bound him with an iron chain to a nearby tree. Climb down is a phrasal verb. So finally, after reaching the hut at the edge of the forest, this creature climbed down from the tiger's back and tied the tiger with an iron chain to a nearby tree. Just imagine a person catching hold of a tiger, bringing it to his house and tying it to a tree. It is a very strange incident, right? Then he went inside the hut. The tiger could not free himself from the chain, so he had to spend a miserable night under the tree. Miserable meaning unhappy. So this tiger spent an unhappy night under the tree. Who was this creature who was able to capture such a large and dangerous tiger? So all of us are very excited to know about this creature who caught a tiger. So let us see who about this creature in the story. In this picture, you can see that mysterious creature climbing up on the back of the tiger and riding on it. On the afternoon of that day, a potter had arrived home after a hard day's work. He was tired and thirsty. He had asked his wife for some palm wine. The more he drank, the better he felt. So in this story, there was a potter. After his hard day's work, he reached home. He was feeling thirsty. He asked his wife to give him palm wine. Palm wine means toddy. The more he drank, the better he felt, and he lost all his tiredness. When the storm began, the potter suddenly remembered that he had left his donkey tied under a tree. So there was a strong wind blowing. Suddenly this potter remembered that he forgot his donkey, which is tied under a tree in the forest area. He rushed out of his hut to take the animal into the stable. Stable meaning a place where animals are kept. You can imagine his anger when he discovered that the donkey was not there anymore. So this man rushed out of the house to bring his donkey to his house. But when he reached that place, there was no donkey, so he felt angry. The only thing left was its chain. My stupid donkey must have run off into the forest, he grumbled. When I catch him, I'll give him a good beating. So out of anger, he spoke in an unclear voice, saying that when he catches the donkey, he is going to give him a good beating. The potter walked through the wet forest. When it became dark, he often stumbled over roots and fallen branches. With each step, the potter felt angrier and angrier with his donkey. So, stumbled meaning is to walk unsteadily. First of all, he was in a drunken state. It was a forest area and that too night time, and it was raining heavily. There were fallen branches and roots and he couldn't walk properly. So he became angrier and angrier on his donkey. Angrier here, when you see the degrees of comparison of this word, angry is a positive degree, angrier is a comparative degree, angriest is a superlative degree. When I watch him, when I catch him, I'll tie him up under the tree all night. He muttered to himself. Muttered meaning speak something that can't be heard, in the sense to speak unclearly. He was still angry on his donkey. Hours later, the potter reached the old woman's hut. There he saw an animal sleeping in front of the door. After a few hours, finally this potter reached the old woman's hut. There he saw an animal. What was that animal? We all of us know that it was a tiger which was sleeping by the door of the hut. So he misunderstood. He mistook that tiger to be his donkey. So who was that mysterious creature who was torturing the tiger? It is none other than the potter. There he is, he shouted. There he is, the stupid animal. The drunken potter did not notice the difference between the donkey and the tiger. He kicked and beat the sleeping tiger. He then jumped on the frightened animal back, rode it home, and then tied it up with a iron chain. Such a humorous situation here. The drunken potter misunderstood the tiger to be his donkey. The tiger misunderstood the mysterious creature to be leak and obeyed the words of the drunken potter. Next morning, the villagers who passed the potter's house looked in amazement at the tiger tied to the tree. Soon the news spread throughout the village that the potter had caught a tiger and tied it to a tree in his yard. So all the villagers were surprised. Amazement means surprised, looking at a tiger tied under a tree near potter's house. So everybody started to speak about this news, and this news spread throughout the village. All the villagers praised his courage. They also thanked him because the tiger had eaten many of their goats and buffaloes. They had tried to catch him for many years but had failed. The villagers had done two things. First thing, they praised the potter. Second thing, they thanked the potter because this tiger, which was caught by the potter, had eaten many of their goats and buffaloes. They tried to catch this tiger, but they failed many times. Of course, the potter said that he had done nothing of the sort. He said that he had only brought his donkey home. He did not understand how a donkey could change into a tiger. So this innocent potter said to the villagers that I have brought only the donkey to the house, but I didn't understand how this donkey changed into a tiger. When he saw the tiger, he fainted. He lost his conscience as soon as he saw the tiger. Nobody, however, believed the potter's story. The villagers even praised him for being modest. Soon the potter became famous. Modest means humble. Here, the potter, though he did such a brave thing, he was humble in front of the villagers. Soon the potter became famous. Everybody who met him called him the brave potter. The simple potter himself never understood why. A few years later, war broke out between the potter's country and a much stronger neighbor. So finally in this story, a simple potter turned into a brave potter. And after few years, there was a war between the potter's village and the neighboring village. The king immediately gathered a large army, but he realized that it was not strong enough to save his country from defeat. He needed a hero to lead his army. So the king need a hero to lead his army. A large army is a collective noun, that is a group of soldiers. Where could he find such a brave man? The king hurriedly called his ministers together and asked their advice. The king held a meeting and asked the advice of the ministers. One of the ministers remembered the story of the brave potter. "Your Majesty," the minister said, "I know someone who can lead our army." The king immediately sent a messenger to the potter's house. When the potter realized that he had been made general of the army, he became frightened. Your Majesty is a way of addressing a king or a queen. So in this context, the minister said that he knew a brave potter. So the king called for the potter. Finally, the potter reached the palace and Potter was made the general of the army. But the potter was frightened. Why? The king had ordered him to go to the palace the next day. How could he, a poor ignorant potter, become the general of the army? He had never carried a sword, nor had he never ridden a horse. Ignorant meaning lack of knowledge of doing something. In this context, potter doesn't know how to hold a sword and how to fight with the enemies, and he even doesn't know how to ride a horse. So let us see what is going to happen in the story.